Father, we thank you for this beautiful day of life you've given us today. Thank you for all the blessings that you've given us throughout the years and those blessings that you have in store for us for our future life. Most of all, we thank you for that unconditional love you have for us. We ask you to be with us today and guide us in our decision making, and that the decisions will be a benefit to our students, our faculty, staff, and also to our taxpayers. And we ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Amen. You're welcome, sir.
Now call the meeting to order. Right, first thing, we'd like to welcome our guest. Please, raise your hand. David Squires. Luis Camino, Chippy Demon, Yvette Forsythe, Bonnie Herman, Alden Payne, Al Carino, Joanne Sanchez, Randy Leon, Ariel Cruz, Bonnie Escudero, Denise Vanderlick, Julia Fernandez, Juliana Gutierrez, Brandon Renan, Martha Dooley, Lori Confer, Alexandra Chuck Garbini, Larry Shaw, Brenda Hoffman, Destiny Puma, Emma Vanes, Carolyn Grace Thomas, Lisa Ayala, Lisa Duran, Emma Martinez, Lisa Ernest, and Geraldo Garcia. And some who are stuck in waiting.
No, sir. Okay. So item number 4 in your board packet. Uh, Begin with the tech expansion. So we've done, continue to do some work. One of the septic systems is installed. Our soil compaction tests have been conducted and they've been forwarded to our building contractor. Electrical service has been provided. TxDOT just approved our driveway approach, so we'll begin working on that piece of the project as well. We also have, and it's in more detail in your agenda, but we have a preliminary site for the relocation of the truck driving and the power line program to the 18 acres. So we'll have that for your consideration further down in the meeting. In Eagle Pass. Academics, we had a signing this week with Texas A&M International on our transfer agreement. So we have did a formal signing. Their president, Dr. Arenas, came down and brought his administrative team. It was a great event, well attended. It would further solidify the transferability of our courses to Texas A&M International. I had the privilege to be on a panel at the Texas Economic Development Conference in San Antonio earlier in the month. We were talking about some of the benefits of HB 8 and its implementation. Also went and presented on dual credit to the Dilley ISD board as well as La Pryor last night. And you can see the upcoming events. We had a great grilling with the president the Thursday before spring break. And you can see strike that ribbon cutting on the 26th. We're trying to coordinate our schedules with Union Pacific on that one. So it's not going to be on the 26th. So. That's my report, sir.
Thank you. And now considering that consent agenda, I will correct the additions to the next February 15th, board meeting. There's no correction. Next, consider the next date February 29th, 2024. Are there any corrections or additions? Being no corrections or additions, we'll pass on to the commercial schedule update. commencement schedule.
Yeah.
But we gotta take a vote on
We
five.
need to vote on that
Yes.
one. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, A, B, and C.
I'll second the motion.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Reports, which we have the radiologic technical.
Ms. Bonnie Conville will be presenting that.
Hi, good evening. My name is Bonnie Klein-Beleskiville. I'm the program coordinator for radiologic technology and assistant professor. We also have our clinical coordinator.
My name is Denise Vanderlick. I'm the clinical coordinator and instructor as well.
So we're pleased to be here this evening to present our program to you. The radiologic technology program is a 2-year associate in applied science degree. So this is our curriculum, our degree plan. Radiologic technology is very heavy science-based. We touch a little bit on physics, we touch a little bit on electricity, magnetism, so a lot of science. We also, of course, since we're imaging the human body, very heavy anatomy and physiology. Our students, we have 3 semesters of procedures. Our students learn over 200 specific positions for every single body part from the head to the toe. So they're very busy. We keep them very occupied during their 2 years in the program. So that's our clinic hours. Our students do 1,648 clinic hours. Those are hours that they're out at the hospitals in the area. And Denise Vanderlick is actually going to talk about that.
So we currently have 6 different locations in our service area. In Del Rio, we have Val Verde Regional Medical Center. In Uvalde, we have Uvalde Memorial Hospital. Hondo, Medina Regional, Pearsall, Frio Regional, Carrizo, Dimmitt Regional, and then in Eagle Pass, we have Fort Duncan Regional Medical Center. So this is a lot of what the students are doing throughout the program. They complete over 1,600 hours, actually 1,648 hours of clinical hours. So they do spend a lot of time traveling. A lot of people question, well, why don't we keep them closer to Uvalde? But with the 6 sites, it gives us a good variety of exams. At some of our sites, even our smaller ones, they do exams that our bigger hospitals don't do, and vice versa. So it really gives them a diverse reality of what they'll be doing at bigger hospitals like in San Antonio.
So what does our degree lead to? So in and of itself, a degree in radiologic technology, a person can't do anything with just that. So what our degree leads to is the ARRT, which is the American Registry of Radiologic Technologists. That is the national certification body for radiologic technologists in the United States. There's 3 pillars, education, which is what we give them. We meet all of we're a recognized education program from the ARRT, so we give them the education requirement. There is an ethics requirement, background check, previous criminal charges, things like that. And then, of course, there's the exam, the national exam. Our students take a 200-question exam to become certified as a radiographer. Once they pass the test, they're then a registered technologist in radiography, which is abbreviated RTR, ARRT, signifying that they've passed the national exam. And we are required to do 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years to keep our certification. And then recently, the ARRT has also implemented what they call CQR, Continuing Quality Sorry, I'm exempt from that because I've been a technician a long time, so I don't have to do that. So we let our students know all the requirements once they finish school. They understand they need to continue their education. The technology is consistently changing. So they have to keep up with that in their profession. The next thing, so that's national. The state of Texas requires a person to be licensed by the Texas Medical Board to be a radiologic technologist in the state. And you can see the list of things that are required, a little bit more actually than the nation requires. Birth document, fingerprints. They do have to show that they passed the national exam before they can be licensed in the state. The National Practitioner Data Bank, that looks for nationwide if a practitioner has committed an offense in one state and then they move on to another state, it sort of prevents that just from happening. Court and arrest records. The state does require us to do a JP exam, which goes over state statutes, board rules, regulations for the state of Texas. And once they pass the JP exam, then they become a general medical radiologic technologist, or GMRT, and the state of Texas also requires continuing education. We can use continuing education for ARRT and for the state, so we don't have to kind of double up on that. Any questions so far?
How many hours on the state?
24.
Those 24, the same ones you can use?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The only difference is the state does require that we do a one human trafficking credit, but the credit that we do for the state will apply to one of the 24 credits for the national. So that makes it convenient. So the next couple of slides, this is just an overview of our cohorts. Our program does run on a 2-year cohort system. So we don't graduate students every year. We graduate students every 2 years. So we accepted these young ladies in the cohort. They began in August of 2023, and they will graduate in May of 2025. And then we'll start another cohort in August of 2025 and move them through the 2 years. I believe we're the only program in the country that works on that cohort system. But I believe when the program started, they didn't want to flood the market in this area, but we still needed a resource to put local people out into the workforce in this profession. That's why we run that way. So we have our graduation and retention rates. The bottom shows our ARRT scores. On the next slide, we've broken the ARRT exam down into sections. After 2015, they did change the exam. They increased the number of sections, but they're testing the same information. And then we have our employment data down in the bottom. We did, back in 2020, we were approved to purchase new digital imaging equipment for our lab. So our lab is fully functional. The equipment takes x-rays. We have phantoms. You can't take pictures, images of live humans because radiation is harmful. So we have phantoms that we can take images of. And the equipment that we had was back from, I believe, 1995. So it was very old. It was very outdated. When the students would go to clinic, they didn't know kind of what they were, because all the clinic facilities had digital equipment, but what we were using in the lab was very old. So we do greatly appreciate that that was approved for us to purchase this equipment. It's made a huge difference, I think, for the students. It's all digital.
So one of the things that we do, we use several platforms of social media. Facebook is probably our primary one, and we use it for several different things. We'll announce student events, Grilling with the President. We put that out there, and other fundraisers that they'll do. They do bake sales and T-shirt sales and different awareness events. So we'll put those up there. One of the things I found that it helps the most with is staying connected with our students. So we'll post, the directors will contact us and say, hey, I have this job available. Can you post it on your site? Or they can post it themselves. It just depends. Some prefer which way. So we're able to post job opportunities for them. And then there's several different entities that we obtain our continuing education through. And sometimes they offer free CEs. So we also share that with the students. But my favorite part is that it helps us stay connected with the students, and we see what they get to do and they see us, and it just helps us kind of stay connected. So
We also have many of the current technologists. That's why we include the continuing education for graduates of the program or techs that are working at our clinic facilities, so they can take advantage of those opportunities also. Student activities, our students are very active on campus. Grilling with the president, we let them dress up for Halloween, bake sales. One day we did waffles for breakfast, and we told them they could wear their pajamas. So that you can see they've got some in their onesies and their comfy shoes, and we made waffles and had a nice fun morning. We celebrate birthdays. We have Mrs. Vanderlick's birthday down here that I turned 40 at the service celebration. And they do raffles, and we celebrated Go Pink for breast cancer. So they're here so much, and the program is so intense. We want them to learn, first of all, but we want them to enjoy being here. And when they come to campus, we try to break it up a little bit for them. We're also very active out in the community. We go to college and career days, of course, at the schools. They volunteer at the Palomino Fest. They help me out in the beverage concession. You can see Mrs. Vanderlick went out with a couple of our students to St. Philip's to meet with the little ones. The turkey trot, Dia de los Niños, we've done activities out there. And then we also do help. There was a Border Patrol fundraiser that they asked for some help with serving hamburger meals. So our students went out. So they try to help with other community events also. So very active on campus and very active out in the community. But it's not all fun and games, just so you know. We're not all just having fun all the time. We do make them work. We've had a mobile company come that's hired several of our graduates, so they came with their mobile equipment. Students, they do orientations at our clinic facilities where they go over all of their requirements. There's some pictures of us working in the lab, working in the hallway with the stretcher and the mobile unit that we have, and then with the skeletons. So we do keep them very busy also. Very intense 2 years in the program. So not all fun and games. And that's my presentation for you. Any questions? We have several of our students here. If you have questions, they're going through it, so they'd be more than happy to answer anything.
Do you have any male students?
We do have male students. They didn't volunteer to come tonight. Right now, we have 3 male students. We really don't get a lot of male applicants in comparison to the number of female. We haven't actually broken it down, but we don't.
our class of 2019 had the most number of males, and I think that was maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, but it's mostly females.
Wow.
How many total students do you have?
I'm sorry, sir?
How many total students do you have?
We accept 20 students every 2 years, and that number is based on the number of clinic spots that we have, because we can only send, nursing is a little different because they can go throughout the hospital. Our students are in the radiology, so if they only have, 2 imaging rooms, the most we can send is maybe 1 or 2 students to those smaller facilities. So it's based on our number of clinic spots that we have.
And you guys have to go with the students to be there the whole time?
No, unlike nursing, we do not. We are allowed to have the technologists supervise the students.
They just have to be ARRT registered.
Okay.
The national certification, they need to be certified, and that is acceptable for them to supervise our students and work with them.
And how are the students compensated when they have to go so far? Is that just part of the program? And
It's part of the program, but they also, through Carl Perkins, have been able to, a lot of them get grants through Carl Perkins.
Right.
Apply for scholarships.
it's
so
just
that's
part of
something-
their
Yes.
tuition and all
And
that they have
be
to
honest,
cover?
Throughout the country, like even when we went to school, that's that was just something that you
Really?
took on as a
It's
responsibility.
an extra expense compared to the academic kids and
Yes.
stuff. And I saw you mentioned that, there was a lot of males in the 2019 cohort.
Yes.
Because I saw that was a kind of the tough cohort that didn't do as well as all the others. I was gonna ask, what was the justification for that you saw that cohort did not do as well academically and?
Too many male students. Too many distractions. We haven't done any sort of correlation on that. And I should have actually mentioned, the cohort that's in the red on these slides, that was actually we got our digital equipment. It was installed the first week of February of 2020. We used it, we trained on it, we used it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then we went on spring break, and then we didn't come back because of COVID. So we did highlight that group because we did know, we couldn't do lab. I mean, at first it was a little bit of, our profession is hands-on. It is totally hands-on. So that did hurt them a little bit, but that's out of our control.
And so I see on that same cohort that 4 failed and did not retest. Did anybody reach out to them and find out why they have not retested? They went through the whole program.
Yes, sir. Our students, usually they graduate in May, they take the test, most of them May or the beginning of June. They are allowed 3 attempts in 3 years to pass the exam. We reach out, primarily.
Still reach out.
We, of course, the generation, we text message them. I get their personal email before they graduate. So I email, we text, we call, hey, could we offer, we can tutor you. What do you need? What can we help you? I promise you, we reach out to those students. Our last semester, we have a seminar course, which basically we just review for that national certification exam. We okayed it with our division chair at the time. Can we offer these 4 students that they can come and audit this? They can just sit in that review class, hear it all again. They would, if they wanted to buy the materials, they could, and not one of them responded.
Really?
So we really try, because it's a lot of work to do nothing.
Yeah. After
So
2 years.
we really do try to reach out to them.
It's a male thing.
After they're not completing the test, do they become carpenters or some other?
We try to keep touch with them. I know one of the girls isn't working at all. We have another girl that had a baby, so now she's a stay-at-home mom. The other one was working at a hospital as a receptionist registration clerk. We haven't heard from her. We don't know if she went back to doing that. But we try to keep in touch with them. We really, because they're coming up on their 3-year cutoff, and we let them know your time is running out if you want to take the test again.
If you find a spare one, send it to my clinic up there in Crystal. And we have been without an X-ray tech, and we have state-of-the-art X-ray equipment, but we have been without an X-ray tech for a year.
We have a few students from Crystal and Carrizo. We have one right here.
You better go work over there.
But that's still a
Yeah, I
year
know.
away. But
We'll wait.
you already have a job. Any questions for our students? We realize it's an expense for them to travel, and we've tried to, how can we fix that? There just really isn't a way for them to get that quality hands-on education.
And it really comes down to the type of exam as well. Like in Del Rio, they're doing a few exams that none of our other clinic sites do. And then even with our smaller sites, even they're doing things that our bigger ones just don't do anymore.
Yeah.
So if we take them out of those areas, we're really doing a disservice to them if they choose to go to other parts of the country.
Thank you, Ms. Escobar. Ms.
One
Thank
last
you. We
thing.
appreciate
Thank you.
that
I would
very
just
much.
like to let you know Denise Vanderlit completed her master's degree in radiologic and imaging science last August. California State. Very proud of her. She worked very hard. So, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
We have another report on building the
The third
grounds.
one. The third one.
Sí, Amadino. Name.
No sé. Man, we haven't had one for over a
Eso
year.
con yo.
George there, but he's not here.
No, no, he's not.
He's left. So no puede ser más basic
Yeah,
stuff.
basic.
So it's tough. Again, trying to see a C1 or thoracic or something. No, can do. Skull series. No puede ser yo. A pediatric no hace. Pero if it's less than 12, no lo hace. Not even a simple chest x-ray. No lo hace.
Repeat.
For peds.
Fíjate, yo hacía todo eso, cabrón, sin nada behind me. Hacía IVP, sí.
No, they'll get there. All right, good evening. My name is Al Salinas. I am the Director of Maintenance. And I've got a few people here with me. I won't make them come up here with me like the instructors did, but they will be recognized here in a bit. Okay. Our campuses are identified in Uvalde. Uvalde has 27 buildings, 57 classrooms. In Del Rio, we have 25 classrooms. Eagle Pass has 3 different locations consisting of 43 classrooms. On the main campus, 7 at our Chittum campus, and we have 5 that are hosted at the AEL Center. Okay, we also have 8 in Crystal City, our outreach centers that are in Pearsall and Hondo have 6 classrooms apiece. Okay, questions, everybody? Did I miscalculate your counts? Ms. Hoffman? Buchanan? Okay, processes that we do work on the daily. We use what is called School Dude to do our work order system. Our work order system is conveyed into my desk in the morning or overnight. Some come real early in the morning. And we use those to set out, delegate the work to whether it be our grounds, our plumber, our HVAC, event setup, where we have to coordinate and get personnel with tables, chairs, events, depending on the setup. Some are scheduled. They're scheduled through Miss Jeanette Salcedo. Then she puts out the HVAC team to set up climate control. Then it goes, for instance, to Miss Joanne Sanchez, the newlywed. Congratulations. Vasquez now. And that goes, and it's a team effort. So we use that on the daily. Whether we got to schedule it, even our board meeting, schedule it for the amount of people that are going to be hosted. So we have that set up, and it's a very, very unique tool that we use every single day. And then a couple of days out of the week, we meet with our vice president, Mr. Derek Sandoval. We go into planning, into budget meetings where we're counting our pennies, making sure we can extend them through August 31st, putting priorities from different, whether it be innovative grants, different monies from different budgets that we use. And so on our deferred maintenance planning, this year we are scheduled to have a new roof done in Eagle Pass and one in Crystal City, which some of y'all are and the rest are coming. We're not neglecting the rest of the roofs. They're coming. We just have a piece of the pie that we cut at and we bite and we schedule and try to make the most of it. Our long-range planning that we have, and that is more with 2 years ago when surgical tech, and that's one of our long-range planning that was coming, and that's been initiated. That is, I'm going to say about 90% complete at this moment. Or as of this afternoon, before I made my way this way, it is scheduled to come into operation on August or the fall of 2024. We're ahead of schedule, and it sometimes works in mysterious ways because we had a time frame that we could get it done before and not be struggling during the summer trying to get it done and not meet our deadline. So that is part of our plan. This kind of looks, this is what our work order system looks like when it comes through and it identifies whether it pertains, like I was saying, electrical, construction, you see some custodial, fire alarm system, mechanical, pest control. We got rodents, and we haven't had a problem with rodents, but they can come. So it's identified exactly what it is. Parking lot striping. This pie chart has kind of a breakdown. Some are smaller that won't be identified on here, but we go into carpentry, which is whether it's painting, building a wall, doing VCT tile, removing carpet. We have custodial work, electrical work, HVAC. Thank you, Jerry, for attending. Okay, questions thus far? Anybody?
Do we have any asbestos in the facilities?
Asbestos has been identified in the last 14 months. I myself have gotten my certification in asbestos abatement, moving forward where we can tackle the proper removal of asbestos.
Good.
So it has been identified. Our dormitory, there's a section that has it, and it's more in our thermal chill water system that is non-functional, but it has to be abated.
Abated.
So we have done steps in getting that removed.
Good.
Or getting the proper certification to be able to abate it.
When you have that, do you have to have other of your staff certified also, or just yourself?
Good question. I am allowed to certify them under my certification.
Okay.
And it is probably about an hour, but I will have to be the supervisor at all times there.
Good.
Other questions? Our efficiencies that we work with, energy, we have our air conditioning under energy management. Okay, we're able to see early in the morning if an AC is down the system, we're able to see that, and that is with the service contract. We see that it's the programmable thermostats where we're able, that this event that we're having today, we're able to program it for an extended amount of time, and once we leave, it shuts off and it won't come back on till another event is here. So those are little things that we have in place. Light bulbs moving to LED bulbs, energy efficient washers and dryers in our dormitories. That is done. That is happening. Also, our AC units, our PTACs in our dormitories are also on that. Okay, our access control, I'll turn it over.
Hello, my name is David Alonso Sanchez. Thank you for the opportunity to come out and present and share insight on some projects at the SWTJC. I'm the Safety and Security Coordinator, like I said, and for the institution of SWTJC, and I oversee The program, who includes two other individuals, Mr. Javier Rangel and Rick Perez. Just to kind of get into it, just a bit of history. In the past, SWTJC has faced challenge due to the loss or circulation of over 100 master keys, posing a security risk with unrestricted access to various areas. To address this, we took proactive measures and implemented a systematic approach to monitor all physical keys on a designated key schedule. Rick Bettis is our SWTJC licensed locksmith, and he oversees the key management and plays a key role in coordinating with sister campuses, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Crystal City, and vendors to meet our security needs. This approach ensures better control over access and enhances the security across the institution. Before I go to the next slide, do you have any questions in regards to our keys?
I have a question just on ADA. Are there any facilities or buildings that are not ADA compliant?
Yes, we do have some doors that are non-ADA compliant. We are actively working on getting those doors to accommodate those.
Like a lot or
There's
a lot?
of those, yes.
Okay.
I know we have a couple of students that with those special needs. We have a blind student, and this is kind of off topic, but we're working on getting Braille on our doors so they can identify themselves where they're at.
Is that within y'all's budget? Has it been budgeted?
We'll take that as a no.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir, we make it work. We have several budgets set, but if it's close to an outdoor exterior door, we might find that in the grounds. If it's a maintenance door, then we're able to use that. We're getting there. As he said, we've addressed it, we just need to get to it.
The short answer is we can't afford to address all the ADA issues at once. So.
But there is a written plan somewhere that we're following?
Long range.
We've had an architect, our previous architect went through and identified all the ADA issues on all of our campuses.
How long ago was that?
2008, probably.
Ooh.
Well, we recently had a risk management assessment through Sage Integrations, and they kind of identified all those.
And this one goes beyond the doors and sidewalks, ramps, the administration building upstairs, the library upstairs, they don't have elevators.
Yeah.
So there's, it goes beyond the doors.
Yeah.
The issues that we have to address. This is our new key. So we don't have carry keys anymore. We still do. We haven't done all the locks, but all the exteriors are.
The majority of the doors are that type?
Right. We just started Eagle Pass or Del Rio.
All
Both.
campuses.
Both.
We've started that process.
Okay.
And just to kind of stay currently, Uvalde and Crystal City have achieved 100% status on the key cores and changing the keys reschedules.
So if I lose this, they could just shut it off on their system, and it becomes deactivated. So that's a big advantage.
Whereas a physical key, you lose it, it's potentially in somebody else's hands, and we got to rekey the entire building.
Yeah.
And such. So
Thank you.
speaking on the
Just a question, so the keys, or do they have a code to assign it to who it was given to, so you know?
And it has a number. There's a number on the bottom of the key, and it'll have whether it's 34, so on the ledger, 34 was assigned, or if it's lost or returned, they'll know exactly who it went to.
and it's all based on the honor system. When they do lose it, let us know, and we can instantly deactivate the cards. Mm-hmm. So the next slide is actually touches the topic of access control. I'd like to introduce the newly integrated security system called Gallagher Security. This advanced program offers a scalable range of tools, including camera features such as facial detection, weapon detection, color detection, license plate reading, Visitor management. This can go on. Like I said, it's scalable. We can add these items if we want to. And the latest addition is obviously our card access control. Javier Rangel, he manages our Gallagher program and has effectively coordinated with Gallagher personnel to ensure the proper maintenance of card and readers. The strength of the Gallagher security lies in its non-proprietary and open application program interface, also known as API, allowing seamless integrations with any non-proprietary products. Our collaboration with Gallagher personnel, known for their exceptional customer skills, has significantly enhanced our overall security measures. A standout feature of the Gallagher security card access control system is the ability to remotely lock down campuses via Gallagher app on our desktop or through our phones, designated phones. We allow up to 5. We can purchase more, but as of right now, the free ones are 5. So we have certain people that we can allow access through our phones, through cell phones, smartphones, to do manipulate the system. Our collaboration with Gallagher personnel, known for the customers, is significantly enhanced. A standout feature of the Gallagher security access control, obviously, was to lock down the campus with our phones. Those doors that have readers, we can precisely control them over the access points, allowing us to individually lock and unlock as we please. As a department, the safety program, we are committed to maintaining a secure and efficient access control system, and implementation of the Gallagher program and the physical key schedule is a significant step forward in achieving this goal. And I'd like to open up questions if you guys have any on regards to our access control.
David, if we had to lock down the building right now, how long would it take you?
My phone's charging right now. It'd probably take me less than 10 seconds.
And everything.
Everything. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about this is we can, as if we when we integrate the system entirely, we can send notifications to everybody who has email in our system. So it can integrate with our, I believe, our colleague.
How old is our work order system? The school dude, how old is that software and all that?
I don't know when it initiated, but earlier this morning, work order 20,001 was closed out.
But it's working good for you.
It is working. We have looked at different, some other people that have come by and try to sell. It will be, the technology that they use is where they use a snapshot with everyone's phone. So we would be asking every single one of
Use a
us
personal phone.
to have a phone and put in a snapshot of a completed work. Very problematic.
Is it Dude a web-based program? So it's continuously updated.
Upgraded.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay, so we're not antiquated on
Oh,
that.
no,
Okay.
no, we're not. Okay, any other questions before I proceed? Okay, at this time, I will have my team that is here that allows me to do my job very, very effectively and very efficient. So I'm going to make them stand up and be recognized. So I will start with my custodial supervisor, the newlywed again, Ms. Joanne Sanchez Vasquez. The person that pays my bills, Ms. Jeanette Salcedo. Our custodial lead, Ms. Sylvia Fernandez. Our ground supervisor, Mr. Edwin Nava. Our plumber slash forklift operator, front end loader, Mr. Zeke Martinez. And our HVAC guru, Mr. Jerry Garcia, and my boss, Mr. Derek Sandoval. All right, questions for me?
You have an amazing team. Yes. You really do. From the faculty standpoint, I can tell you they're wonderful.
I don't do it alone. I have a wonderful support staff. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Next on our program, we have a presentation for AI. That's not artificial insemination, that's artificial intelligence.
So after last meeting, Dr. Watkins asked, can we have a brief introduction into artificial intelligence? And so I spoke with Dr. Underwood and he said, absolutely, going to get going here. And so we have a team that has already been working on AI and how it's going to impact or is impacting our curriculum.
Dr. Gonzalez, board president, members of the board, and audience. My name is Dr. Aide Escamilla, and my colleagues and I have been invited tonight to make that presentation on artificial intelligence and its impact on higher ed. Now, in the fall of 2023, we knew that there was a need to put together an ad hoc committee made of individuals that were represented by the various departments from the various sites. We knew that students were already using AI, and we needed to go ahead and decide, are we going to set parameters for these students? And if we do, what is that going to look like? We were going to need to develop a policy. Now, what is AI? Well, artificial intelligence refers to, as we have here, the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. This includes learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, language understanding, and decision making. And believe it or not, we are using AI every day. Now, there are two types of AI that I'm going to discuss with you today, and that is narrow or weak AI, and this is specialized in a specific task like voice recognition or image classification. When I say this, I want you to think of Alexa, Siri, Cortana. As far as image classification is concerned, you might carry a phone. And so your phone, you've got the ability to open and access your phone through your face confirmation. All right, so that's one example. And then general AI, also known as strong AI. Now this possesses the ability to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a wide range of tasks akin to human intelligence. Now this is something that Karen Cruz is going to further discuss. She's going to go ahead and touch on the AI applications that we ourselves as faculty are using and that students are using.
Hi, my name is Brandy Leo and I teach speech and English. Karen will present here in a minute as well. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the fact that right now, some people are for AI, some are not for it. Many of you may not know what it is aside from the examples that she mentioned. But with AI, there's settings where it's great to use and maybe there's settings where it might be less than desirable to use. I know one of the biggest concern is it going to impact critical thinking? Is it going to work on behalf of the students? As both an English teacher and a speech teacher, I find that in my English classes, I don't really want them using AI. They can use things like Grammarly, WordTune, WriteSonic, and ChatGPT as just a few to actually create essays for them. Today, I went in just kind of playing with some of them, and I said, go ahead and write an essay about a piece of literature that I lectured over. I got a 5-paragraph essay in 10 seconds. Do I want my English students using it? No. However, for my speech students, when they prepare presentations, I can maybe take a document and say, hey, ChatGPT, go ahead and compile the data that's in this chapter into a graph or chart so that it's visually appealing for the audience. And in that way, it's beneficial because it saves them a lot of time. Instead of them putting a graph or a chart together, now they've got AI to work on behalf of them so that they can work more efficiently to present a better speech and focus on delivery instead. So these are just a few that we are facing. One of the biggest drawbacks is that most of us don't really have access to the better AI, if you will. So right now, AI as we know it is probably the weakest version of what it's going to look like. I mean, over the years, it's going to continue to get better, but we're also going to have to pay for those resources. So I would encourage the board and the president and everyone to consider looking into teaching our faculty how to use it, making it accessible to our students, maybe through the library, because we want to use these in order to help the students to be more efficient and focus on things that are really meaningful. And I'm going to turn this over to Karen so she can talk about some of the things that AI can be used for.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Karen Cruz. I'm a biology instructor on the Del Rio campus, and I'm going to talk about a few examples on how AI can be used. So let's say I need a summary for a chapter, or a student needs a summary for a chapter. You can either link the page for that chapter if it's an open book on the web, if the platform allows that, or you can copy, paste the text and ask it to do a 10-sentence summary, and it will compile the best that it knows the information. Is it perfect? No, but it may be helpful for the student. Another thing that we can do is generate quiz questions. So if I have that same chapter and I need new questions for my test bank, and my classes are open educational resource classes, which means I don't have a whole lot of test bank from a publisher. I have very limited, and I need new questions every now and then. Copy the text, put it in. Please generate me 10 multiple choice questions, and then I get a little bit of diversity on those same questions. So we can just assess, evaluate students. Does it do a perfect job? No. We still have to go and see and edit and look that it actually is assessing what it is, what we're wanting it to do. So it's not perfect, but it's a great tool. Another thing, how I could use AI in my class, because like Brandy said, critical thinking is an issue. We have a paper, and that's based on critical thinking. So I cannot allow students to write a paper using AI because they're not doing any critical thinking. So they have to write the paper themselves. But I could use AI to have them create an outline, for example, so that they can get started. And they could maybe create an outline and assess the outline and add to it and use it as a tool, and they create the paper themselves. So those are different options on how we can incorporate AI also in our classes. It takes time for the faculty to learn these things and incorporate them, but I think we're a little bit getting there because we need to be there because AI is not going to go away. Another example that I'm going to give you, we have a platform called Edpuzzle that allows us to have videos from YouTube or from other platforms, and then we have quiz questions embedded in those. And we can copy somebody else's or we can create our own. So I, for example, in a biology lab, I wanted to have some videos from just the Texas Wildlife and Parks, the Texas things that are happening, but there were no made quizzes. So I have to create it myself, and that takes time because yet again, I have open educational resources, so I don't have a platform to go to. So unless they're made, that's yet again more time to create. So what I tried, I took the transcript from YouTube because YouTube videos have a transcript where there's text. Copied that, went into ChatGPT, and I asked it to create multiple choice questions. Then I asked it, can you create the timestamp exactly where in the video it's happening and the right choice? And it can. So then I just went into Edpuzzle, find the correct time, put in my questions, and note that these Edpuzzle videos are meant as a study tool. They're not meant as evaluations. That's what exams are for. So these are just, I'm just making sure the students are looking at certain content. So they don't have to be very complex. It's more, are you doing it? And then I can award you some points as a carrot. That's how I use them in my class, and a lot of my coworkers do that as well. Because if you just have a video, you cannot assure they're watching it or not, because you have no documentation. So that's a few examples on how AI can be used.
moving on to the next slide, one of the things that AI is really great for, if you research anything about AI, you'll find that it often goes along with AI and ML, which stands for machine learning. And these are really bots, and what you're doing is you're taking a bot, you're teaching it information, and then with that information, you're allowing it to do certain things. So we use algorithms for that. And basically, we learn from the data, or the bot itself learns from the data that you put into it. So it's only going to be able to do what you teach it to do. So how can this help students? Well, one of the ways is through adaptive learning. When I was a 5th grade teacher, I used to use a tool called Study Island. And Study Island was really great because if I was teaching math, I could have my students go through the modules, and if they were consistently missing on fractions, it would continue to spit out questions about fractions until they mastered that concept. So with AI, we can use it for adaptive learning so that we can specialize whatever it is that they're weak in. So, I might have one student that needs to work on thesis statements. I might have another one who needs to work on grammar. So this is one way that AI can impact students. And also it can predict, we don't really have access to this right now, but we could, we could predict student performance and strategies to improve outcomes. And so these are some great ways. I do have a daughter who's a student at Texas A&M, and she recently told me that her professor is using AI to grade her assignments. And she's not very happy about it because she's being scored pretty lowly. And she talked to some of her classmates, and she also said, hey, I'm also getting scored low, and I know that I've done the research, I know I've done the assignment the way that I was expected to. But so automated grading is one way. It's meant to help students and give them quick feedback, but it's still new, and we still don't have it perfected yet. And so there are some drawbacks to AI, but there's a lot of good that is going to come out of it over the next couple of years. So again, these are just some great ways that it can help students, and she'll talk about some ways it can help faculty.
Okay, so I already mentioned some of the ways that it can help us save time when it comes to assignments, for example, or creating just quiz questions. But AI can also help us create statements. It can help us create instructions for an assignment. We all get to that point where we're tired and you need to write something and your brain is just not generating the proper text that you want. So instead, I can go into ChatGPT or something else and be like, hey, I need you to write instructions for this kind of assignment, and then it generates a text, and then I can modify it to whatever I need. So that helps already just getting over the threshold, getting the job done, because we all get tired at some point. So those are a few examples. And keep in mind that a lot of big corporates use AI to create their statements. So what you're seeing on the web, all that fancy text, it was probably AI, okay? And one example that I'm going to give today is what we've done in the committee. So this ad hoc committee was put together with one main task. The first task was to create a statement for our master syllabus about the policies. So what did we do? We opened up ChatGPT, we put in the criteria, and in less than 10 seconds, we had a statement. And then after that, it was modified at the faculty association, it was modified by the administration, and before spring break, it was approved. Instead of sitting 2 hours, how do we want to write this? How do we want to write that? Because AI is quite good at creating general text. And when you give the criteria, and you can ask it to rephrase, and you can ask it to add, and so on, and it spits out that fancy text that we need. And then you're good. And that's also a way that you can catch students, because it's usually a little too fancy than what we, normal human beings write, so to say. Another thing that I wanted to bring up here as well, there's a lot of professional development that is being generated so we can learn more. So that's one thing, how we can help ourselves in understanding, because none of us are professionals when it comes to AI. None of us know a whole lot because it is so new. So we need a lot of training in it. How many of you use Zoom on a weekly basis, monthly basis? Zoom actually has AI incorporated. You can enable AI in Zoom, and Zoom will create a summary of your meeting. Is it perfect? No. I teach microbiology, and I tried it once. Oh, it got all the pathogens wrong. The names were just rubbish. But in a general that it understands, maybe not the sciencey language, it does a quite decent job. So AI is here to stay. So we just have to figure out how to use it and how to implement it.
Moving on, impacts on higher education. Well, it enhances efficiency, as we've had those examples It's not the be-all, tell-all, and we know that. We still need a human being to grade papers. We still need a human being to be there and understand what's going on. It's not just, here it is, we don't have to do anything anymore. Adaptive learning platforms. AI enables the development of adaptive learning systems that cater to diverse student needs, potentially improving overall educational outcomes. So these adaptive learning platforms initially help students experience and faculty higher educational outcomes. Challenges and considerations, because we know there is challenges. Ethical concerns, that's a big one. Addressing issues related to ethical use of AI in educational settings. So some examples of ethical concerns would be privacy, confidentiality, and individual responsibility. Infrastructure and training, investing in the necessary infrastructure and providing training for faculty and staff to effectively utilize AI tools. And as we mentioned, that was the whole reason why we developed an ad hoc committee to get ourselves familiarized with AI and to grow with it, because it is going to be an ever-changing outcome. At our institution, we also offer in our professional development department webinars on AI, which is offered to all the faculty. And they're 20-minute webinars. I've gone through some. So they're very good to get knowledge, because like I said, it changes every day. Future trends, continued integration. Expect further integration of AI in educational systems, transforming traditional teaching and learning methods. So AI is not about robots taking over the world. It's about AI being a very powerful tool, enhancing our capabilities. And keeping in mind that AI must be used as a collaboration and not a replacement. Thank you. And at this time, we'll entertain any questions that you have for us.
One question.
Yes, sir.
First question. Did y'all prepare this or did ChatGPT?
We prepared it.
Okay. Did it answer your question?
I'm still as lost as I ever was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
You write something, like you have something you have to write.
No go.
And no, you then just, it tells you, this needs to be
So,
reworded because.
before we get to the next agenda item, I hope the board finds these information sessions.
Excellent.
Over the course of 2 years, I think we figured out you're going to get information on every aspect of our institution, both academic and service programs. So if you don't miss a meeting for the next year and a half, you'll be well versed on the college.
Well, it gives us an insight as to what the college is doing, what's going on, and that's good.
We need to be educated. Thank you all for all those presentations. They were excellent. Next, we have a presentation on certificates of unopposed candidates for the SWTJC Board of Trustees election 2024.
Right, so this is item number 7, requires no board action. It's just a document presenting place 1, Victor Lopez, unopposed, place 2, Maria Elena Lara, unopposed, place 3, Anita Shackelford, unopposed. Just make that presentation.
Next, we have a consider an act on a cancellation of May 4th Board of Trustees election. Lopez, Lara, and Shackelford elected.
Yes, sir. So since they were unopposed, we present to the board an order for canceling the May 4th election.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, sir.
I so move.
And a second?
I'll say.
All in favor of canceling the election?
Right.
Anybody opposed? Wonderful. Y'all have been reelected. Thank you. Congratulations. Consider an act on tech expansion project phase 1B sub-driving and power line relocation.
Yes, sir. This is item B, item 9 in your board packet. So phase 1B is the relocation of the truck driving program that's currently located on the Chittenden campus and the Powerline Tech program that's located on our AEL campus. And we propose to relocate both of those programs to the 18-acre annex just on the other side of Fort Duncan. And the AEL site is very congested, and it would really free up the space there. It really is not conducive to have that heavy equipment in such a small, congested space. And as far as the truck driving, that's essential to relocate the truck driving program to make room for the auto and the HVAC programs that we want to add to the Chittenden campus. We're estimating that cost to be $1.2 million, still within the $4 million, the 2.5 that the state gave us this year, and the $1.5 million that the board authorized. So the funds are there to get this done, and I would just, it's going to be, we are going to purchase a modular building, which will be used as a classroom for both truck driving and power line. There'll be some site work and some paving, but that's really, in essence, what it's going to be.
Dr. Gonzalez, I just noticed that on there it says purchase of a modular building, 600,000, but then we have an action item on number 11 that says it's 525 for the purchase. Is that, why the difference in numbers?
Right, so the 1.2 is the estimated cost for the phase. We were intending to bring the building in April. We did get the quote in time to put it in the board packet, so the next agenda item, or item number 11, is the more accurate cost.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So with this item, I would ask the board to consider approving really the scope and the budget for expansion that we're terming 1B, phase 1B.
Yeah, go ahead and make a motion that we approve your recommendation.
Do I hear a second? Anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Next, we consider an act on authorizing the president to proceed with this item for take extension 1B.
This is item number 10. We did something similar for the expansion project here. And this is just gives me the authorization. Our plan is to do the work in-house, sign any utility easements required, rent equipment, purchase the base material, and then select the modular building, and then hire any subcontractors that may be required for the project.
I'll make a motion that we allow Dr. Gonzalez to, the authorization for the tech expansion phase 1B.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to authorize the president to proceed the items necessary for tech extension phase 1B. All in favor? Anybody opposed?
No.
I hear no opposition. I didn't hear much acceptance either. But the motion passed. Consider an act on approving the purchase of modular classroom building for phase 1B.
Okay, this is item number 11. The bid came in at $525,659. Again, this is from a state approved vendor, Palomar Modular Buildings, which is the same company that we purchased the law enforcement building. On the third page, you can kind of see the layout. There's some extra lines in there, the vertical lines. Those actually represent different modules that it will be shipped in. But it's a 6 classroom, correct? 6 classroom with the offices, restrooms, and everything that it needs installed. Right.
Dr. Gonzalez, I just have a question there too. What does it mean, wet classroom? And all?
That means that the plumbing's included.
Oh, okay.
There's a what?
The plumbing's included.
Yeah, it's a wet.
Yeah. Yeah, you can buy them dry and then you have to install your own.
Oh, okay, okay.
Plumbing and
Thought it was a misprint.
The infrastructure is already there, right?
the
It's
infrastructure.
complete.
As far as we know, there's water, electrical. I don't know if those boxes that, have we verified if those are transformer or transformer? Yeah. The majority of the infrastructure is there. So the site utilities should be minimal. You can see the last page there is where on that property that we're proposing. So if you look at it, you can see where Fort Duncan Medical Center is on the, I guess it would be the left side of that empty space, the white space. And the 18 acres, it's actually a little less than 18 acres because I think the 18 acres includes the roads. But that very top one is going to be the actual truck driving pad. And then you can see the next one coming down is going to be where the modular classroom and the parking lot's going. And then the upper one on the right is where the power line poles will go. And you can see the notations there of sanitary sewer and all the different utilities that are, the streets are curbed and guttered.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Consider an act on appointing a board member to confer degrees.
Okay, so we're fast approaching commencement. And as of today, we're planning to have 3 ceremonies. The first one, Friday, May 17th, 7 p.m., which will be dual credit early college high school. Saturday, May 18th at 10 a.m., liberal arts. And Saturday at 1 will be applied sciences. If the need should arise that we have too many graduates for 3 ceremonies, we will add a 4th one on Saturday, later in the afternoon. So typically, we assign a board member to actually confer the degrees, and then
Everybody.
everybody else distribute. And you have the list there in your item number 12 of who conferred. So the last year, Ms. Lara conferred degrees on Friday. Mr. Munoz,
I don't remember when.
you didn't go. So Mr. Moreno did it in
Okay.
your absence. And you can go years back there. It's on the back page. So this is a board's call. Who wants to take on which commencements?
I'll go whenever y'all need me.
Do we need 3 individuals or one person doing all 3 times?
Ideally, we could have 3 different individuals.
Okay. So I want to do one of them. Which one did you choose?
It whatever.
Friday 7,
It-
Saturday 10, Saturday 1.
Friday's fine.
Volunteers for Saturday 10.
I'll do Saturday 10.
And
I
Saturday 1.
volunteer for one.
For 1? Okay.
For one of them. I don't know. What time is that?
1.
One.
So we need a motion to approve the appointment of Roy Munoz to do the 7 o'clock Friday. Maria Elena Lala to do the Saturday 8 o'clock. And Victor Lucas to do the 1 o'clock Saturday. Do I hear a motion?
That's a move.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Right.
Motion passed. Consider an act on the private resale of property account number 14852.
Yes, sir. This was a late ad. We had a request from Purdue Brandon firm, and I believe we have attorney representing the firm here.
Yes, hello. Good evening. Carlos Arce, partner with Purdue Brandon Law Firm. We represent the appraisal district for the collection of the property taxes and buying through that. represent all the governmental entities within Uvalde, essentially outside of UWIC in terms of the respective collections for the delinquent ad valorem property taxes. So what you all have before you is essentially a memorandum coming out from our office, providing over counsel and recommendation as it pertains to the bid that was received. The property in question, it abuts generally, just to geographically place it for you, Highway 83, it abuts Highway 83 off East Daniel, near East Antonio, where East Antonio and 83 intersect. The property itself is it's vacant. It's just land. It is a non-standard, non-conforming lot. It's already run through the city of Uvalde in terms of approval. City planning and code enforcement have reviewed it and confirmed that information regarding the lot. I say all that to say because the lot is actually assessed on the roll at a little over $25,000 right now. If you look at the roll, just on the face of it, the bid itself is for $1,500, and that doesn't really provide the full picture. For this particular lot, because it's non-conforming, after consultation with, again, the city, it was confirmed that no other individual outside of the individual who is the adjacent owner, lot owner, would be in a position to do anything whatsoever with this piece of property. So it's essentially not really all that marketable. And so that's why, again, at some point, the previous owner stopped paying the delinquent property taxes. It went through an entire collection and adjudicative process to ultimately foreclose the respective property. It went up for sale at the courthouse steps in 2019. At that point in time, no one in the community or the surrounding counties that we have regular bids or bidders coming in for that courthouse sale bid on it. And so at that point in time, the original minimum bid was a little over $4,000. And there were no takers. And once a property is bid off, so at that point it was bid off to the city, it is no longer a productive piece of property for the roll, for the tax roll. So it's in the best interest of the entities to get it back on the tax roll. In other words, get it into someone else's hands. It's going to take care of it. Code enforcement has gone out, for the city has had to go out there numerous times to take care of the property. So as part of the understanding for this bid, the bidder is not only providing over the $1,500 that would go towards satisfying the ultimate claims that were part of the judgment, but the post-judgment years will be paid in full. So those were the years taken that became delinquent after the judgment was taken as well. He is going to be making the city code enforcement office whole in terms of the resources spent in order to put it back in compliance. So our recommendation, just given all of that, is going ahead and approving the bid so that the property can go placed back onto the roll. The best situated individual to acquire ownership of this property would be the adjacent owner, which that is where the bid is coming from. At this point in time, I did as well in the report second page kind of go through the proration. There's a pecking order in terms of how the funds are supposed to be distributed. Once there is a resale, the costs of the sale and the costs of court need to be paid out first. So that remaining amount would get paid towards the taxes, and because the taxes cannot be paid in full, it's prorated. So that proration is identified in there, showing all the information in terms of what each of the entities would receive. Again, it's been approved by the city, it's been approved by the county, it's been approved by Uvalde CISD. So I have it here before you all today. And last bit, to just fully disclose, the owner or the bidder is on the CAD board. And that poses no issues legally or ethically or anything of that nature. But it also doesn't hurt to make it clear and just to stipulate that that the adjacent lot owner also happens to be on the CAD board. So just wanted to disclose that.
Thank you. That was my question.
Okay.
Well, The only thing about that property there is that I guess it's in high demand now because they just built a brand new Family Dollar or some business entity right next door to that property. So that's one of the things that has elevated, I guess, the value of that property in that area. Yeah. So that wasn't taken into consideration. And what's the total expense for that individual? Is it only $1,500?
Total expense for which individual? I'm
The
sorry.
individual, the bidder.
The-
But yeah, who pays this other stuff, the $1,300 and all this other stuff? Who?
So all of that, so what's tabulated there on the first page and going throughout, though that would get siphoned off from that bid. So the $1,300 in terms of the cost of sale, cost of court would initially go towards the paying out the district clerk for their fees, the sheriff's office for their respective fees and whatnot as it relates to the sale. Thereafter, the taxes and then just the remaining bit gets paid out. The accounts are zeroed out for the purposes of the years that were within the judgment, and then the post-judgment years are expected to be paid in full. And if they're not, then we could move forward with action to foreclose on the property for those post-judgment years. So although the winning bidder would not be the January 1 owner with liability, technical liability for the respective taxes, the tax lien would be retained on the property and we can move forward with foreclosure as needed. Additional caveat to mention. So let's say, for instance, so within 3405, there's a subsection in there that talks about, let's say, for instance, if any of the entities, for whatever reason, don't want to move forward with the bid. Something to take into consideration is if the city of Uvalde needs assistance or has additional costs associated with the maintenance of the property, as the tax unit that's been tasked with the maintenance of the property, it would require whichever entity rejects the bid to share into the cost of the maintenance of the property. And I guess it's just a legislative trade-off that they decided, something additional to disclose should the board decide to not move forward with accepting.
Why is it a non-conforming lot? What destroys the marketability of it? Just curiosity, do you know?
That I don't know. I was just instructed that if somebody wanted to build something on it, they would be unable to. In
just
theory, we could show it on satellite imagery and kind of show what it looks like on there. But I mean, there's only a real sliver of it. It's kind of like a coal sack, essentially, and a small sliver of it that you could potentially try building something on. If you own just that particular lot, I think there may be more options, right? Once the title converges there, but as of right now,
But you said he owns the lots next door to that one, right?
He does. There's an improvement. Yes, it looks like it to be some sort of investment, built like property.
Yeah, and that was my other question too. He's on the appraisal district board, so I was wondering if he's able to purchase that property.
Yes. So it's not this isn't a sheriff's tax sale. First off, he wouldn't be involved per se with the. There are limitations in terms of like, myself or anybody from the sheriff's department bidding on properties because we are so intimately involved with that process that despite it being a public sale, there's fear of some sort of
some
taint,
kind of
corruption, something
underhanded.
Yeah. So that would clearly be a no-go. But in this circumstance, this has already been a full step removed. This at this point is a resale, and any bid can be received from any private party for any amount. This is very rare, honestly, and obviously, I mean, I'm not here often in terms of presenting these, so that tells you how rare it is. But it's rare that we accept a bid below minimum bid. Normally, we are at least requesting at minimum bid. But again, I think it goes back to the desirability of the property in question. It's been struck off since 2019.
How many properties are struck off like that? How common is that?
It's not incredibly common in,
Because this one's been on
Valley.
hold since 2019.
yeah,
right?
I don't have that many that I'll strike off in Uvalde. For instance, most of my sales actually in Uvalde, I end up canceling it because thank God I'm
Yeah,
able to
I saw those
coordinate
stats, yeah.
I'm able to coordinate with the current owners to get them to take care of it. We finally resolve it. Great. We just monitor and go from there. And then whatever's left sells, and it typically sells for above the minimum. So again, the fact that and there's a healthy bidder pool at the courthouse here in Uvalde. So the fact that there were no takers, the fact that nobody's presented themselves years later, I think is kind of another gauge there.
Quick question, Carlos.
Yes, sir.
So, is it fair to assume, I just did a quick calculation, it's 0.0896 our percentage of the 1,500. Would that same percentage hold true at the minimum bid of 4,000, roughly?
So if it's 4,000 to be below the minimum bid, so the ratio would hold.
Okay, so
right.
My point is that at 4,000, you're talking about $300. At 10,000, you're talking about $800 versus $129.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the accepting the private sale.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the $525,000 bid that y'all were talking about previously.
We can't buy a building with that, right? No, you can't.
I'll second.
It says, new owner will be liable for post-judgment taxes. The post-judgment taxes since 2019?
Yeah. So those post-judgment years, so the 17, 18, 19, they would have to pay those in full.
How much is the taxes?
It's quite nominal. I put in there the ones that it would describe to the college over the junior college overall. It'd be $64.59 in post-judgment
Per year?
Pretty good deal.
for all the post-judgment years.
So he's going over the 1,500 plus the 69?
64.
It'd be, so the total, it'd be, let's see here, 64.59 as well as the, 58.47 for the additional post-judgment years. So yeah, that would be essentially what would be paid over. It'd be a write-off in terms of for the junior college of $114.66. So I'm quite confounded that I've had to go to
Did it come down
quite
here
a few districts for this, but
Yeah.
That's how it works sometimes.
I think you made the first motion.
I made the motion, yes.
I'll second, yeah. And
All in favor of the motion?
I
Motion carried.
Sorry you had to come down there for this.
I just want to
It's
make one,
okay.
I want to make one comment that the organization, Purdue Brandon, has been doing an outstanding job, and Carlos has been there all this time too. It does an outstanding job of coming all the way from Austin, right, to be here, so.
Yeah. Well, San Antonio, not that.
Oh, San Antonio, okay.
But we do have Dylan in Austin as well.
Okay, but he's done an outstanding job, too.
If he stays around, he may get something.
Yeah.
Loss.
Had a loss.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have to go into closed session in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.074, to consider appointment of deans, appointment of lady
You been driving or what?
No, that was Crystal City, and I get up in the morning, I can go back to sleep. That's awesome.
manager.
I mean, this trip alone,
Comes with the territory.
$1,500, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what his hourly rate is, but if it's $400 an hour,
Yeah, 2,000.
There's not a school from San Antonio to.
but they probably have to eat it
to
just
Brown.
because.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing in that whole area.
I call that involuntary pro bono. You just
You
got to do it because you're told to do
What
it.
time was it? 8:06. What time did we go in?
45,
I forgot.
$55 an hour.
What was it?
Some, oh, I didn't get
I didn't get it.
I guess it's time to reconvene the meeting.
No,
No?
door.
Oh,
There you go.
okay. To reconvene an open session to consider and act on the employment of the deans. Do we have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. I support Dr. Underwood's recommendation to rehire our two deans, Dean of Applied Science, April Ruman, Dean of Instructional Services, and Dual School District Partnerships, Charles Gerber.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. I guess there's only one item left on the agenda, right?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Get up and leave.
Boot,
We're
boot, boot.
back at 8:05, 8:06.
806 out.